Okay, I want to welcome you back to Conversations Over Coffee, Part 3 or Episode 3 of Sacred Boundaries Understanding Verbal Contracts and Sexual Vulnerability. So I'm just going to dive back into it. This is Part 3. If you have not watched Part 1 and Part 2 or Episode 1 and Episode 2, I suggest you go ahead and go and watch those because it will make sense as I get into the next part of this. There is a PDF guide. It will be in the description below, along with all the other offers as well as my Patreon. So you can find everything in the description box below. So let me just dive into it because I got a lot to cover. So in the past, the last episode, I was talking about the different things that the enemy was offering to Yeshua, as far as, basically saying, like, you don't have to go through suffering, you don't have to grow, you don't have to do all these things. I'll offer you whatever it is that you want. But basically, what he was basically offering Yeshua, and let me put my glasses on because it's a long list and I want to make sure I cover all of that. He was basically saying that he offered him, were not even his to give, because first of all, he's God, he's Elohim, he owns everything, right? So how can you offer something that's not even yours? To me, that's like a thief basically saying, well, I own this. How you're gonna offer the creator something that he basically created? But he was saying that he's the God of this world because the things that he offers is an illusion. People think because they have fame, success, and all these things that it brings peace. Those things don't bring peace. What brings peace is that your soul is in the right place with the Most High, that your soul is basically living out its purpose of what you were brought here on this earth for. The material things don't create peace. They may give you a sense of luxury, of, things of comfort and things of that nature, but material things don't bring peace. They're just there for you to maybe use, and before you know it, the next thing on the market, you're trying to, gain that or get that. So it's always a never ending thing to acquire, and that's why they call it consumerism. People just want to consume, 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 but they're never satisfied because those things are empty. They don't feed your soul, they just feed your ego. So basically what the enemy was offering him was ego, power, domination, materialism, and deception. And that's basically what lower vibrational people go after. They want to know. And let me just put this out here, because I'm not saying having success and status and certain type of designer clothes and cars and houses, I'm not saying it's wrong to have that. But when your ego is to the place where you look down on other people who don't have what you have, or when you look and feel as though those things make you who you are, then you already missed the mark. Because if you think a house and a car and walking out the house every day, designer labeled down, then you're already saying that this is your identity, that these things make you who you are. But if you strip away all those things, that does not make you who you are. Who is the core person inside of you? When you take off those clothes, when you get out of that car and lay in your bed at night, what is feeding your soul? Because to me, all of those things outwardly, and I'm not saying all people, some people basically want those things for other people to look at them, to admire them, to basically lust after them, to want that type of lifestyle. But in actuality, some people are very empty and they have those things. So that just goes to show you that the word, what the Most High says, is the lust of flesh, the pride of life, and the deceitfulness of riches. Those things don't feed your soul, right? And what people actually crave, it says, and isn't that exactly what people crave today? They crave validation, they crave fast money, they crave status, pleasures, attention, and they want shortcuts. They don't want to go the long route. This is why you see so many people into scams and doing certain things, and trying to get money from people, and hoodwink and bamboozle. Why do you think that all of these what was those scams back in the day with um the hedge fund scams and Bernie Madoff, or all these different scams, having people invest in things that there was just a shell company that didn't even exist, because these people were going after materialism, going after power. Their ego was in these things, so they didn't care about scamming other people, taking people's livelihoods and investments and 401ks and things that people thought was going to bring them more money, to, I guess, for their children or whatever that was, and they end up being scammed by someone who was basically in an energy of domination and ego and pride and the illusion. And sometimes you have to ask people, when you're going after these things, check your motive, check your intention, and basically do your due diligence. Just because somebody is telling you something that sounds so good to your ears, because we're going to make a lot of money, it's going to help your fund your generations, they're not going to have to worry about nothing, and we take that and we run with it. But if it sounds too good to be true, your spirit basically should tell you, if your intuition and discernment is up, if something sounds too good to be true here, let me kind of, you know, back away and kind of, get more information. Because people can talk a good game. Some people have the gift of gab. They are good salesmen. They basically know how to set things up. And I just want to say this. I remember there was this friend I knew a long time ago. Her and her grandmother was in New York. So it was this guy. He was well dressed, briefcase, suit down, and they went into this building. And I think this building had like different law offices, but it also had some type of store in there. So they were going into the store. So because this gentleman was well dressed, he basically was saying that he needed a certain amount of money. He was going to his lawyer's office. And I don't know what the game he ran on them was, basically say, I only need this amount of money, but if you could help me, when I get the check or whatever, I'll come back and I'll give you $300 or whatever. I only need $100 or whatever. So the grandmother and the granddaughter went and got the $100 out of the ATM and gave it to him, because he looked the part, he spoke the part, he was clean cut, so he looked already like he had money. And what you don't understand is, when people are running game on you, they will look the part, they will dress up, they will basically make you believe that what they're saying is true. But if your spirit is after greed, if your spirit is after trying to get something for nothing, then you're basically setting your own self up, right? So then they gave the man the money. So they were actually, standing there waiting. Oh, yeah, we getting ready to get this money, Grandma. Look at how God is blessing us. And then after time went by, they realized and said, wait a minute. Oh, God, Grandma, that man scammed us. He's not coming back. And now they felt the sting of what just happened. But that just goes to show you about, again, that scripture just keep coming. See, the lust of the flesh, the pride of life, and the deceitfulness of riches. When we think that we're going to get something that we have not invested our own time and energy into, and we think that we're just going to hit this big windfall because somebody promised that they were going to do something, because that was our motive, that we were going in it with the intention of getting something out that we didn't put anything into, and they got caught out there. So this is what I want to say. A lot of times when people are playing on your emotions, playing on your intellect, they're not trying, they're trying to run that short game scam. Let me just put it like that. So it says again, the god of this world controls illusion, not truth, right? Lust, ego, pride, and what is that, and greed, fame, attention, manipulation, power, and seduction. So these are things that the world chases. These are things that predatory men use. And ladies, I really need you to really understand this, and maybe take notes if you have a notebook. This is what they do. They use lust, sex, dominance, control, flattery, gifts, promises, attention, and the illusion of love. People will, and I said this in other videos, men will future fake you. Oh, you're my wife, you're my rib. I never met anyone like you. You're so down to earth. You're so easy to talk to. They'll tell you everything that you need to hear. And this is why I said you need to, the Bible tells us everything that we need to know. It says, beware of the flattering tongue. If someone is continuing just to pour it on like syrup, and you just like, okay, every time they just pouring it on thick. Oh, you so beautiful. You so sexy. Oh, I can't wait to marry you. I can't wait to be with you. And we build our family. And in your mind, this is the illusion. But you have to understand, this is the fairy tale, just like we see Cinderella and we see Snow White and all these fairy tales that we used to watch when we were little kids. And we had this image or, fantasy in our mind that this prince was just going to ride in on a white horse and we were just going to ride away and live happily ever after. Do you notice we don't see the happily ever afters of those stories? Because a lot of things that these men do is they put an illusion in your head, because they know that some women, this is what they want. They want to have that family unit. They want to have that what I would say, the house with the white picket fence and the two kids and the dog, right? And I'm not saying everybody wants that, but what I'm saying is when they know that you want stability, they know you want true love, they know that these are the things that you want, so they come in. And sometimes men come in very fast, they come in already just pouring it on thick. And you have to understand who you are, you have to know who you are at a soul level, you have to spend time with yourself. You can't get into the place, well, I'm just so lonely, I just want someone to love me. No, you have to love yourself, because if you're not pouring into yourself, that is the first place where someone will come in and they will say, "Oh well, this person." The first thing they want to do is know, well, what happened? Why are you single? You can't be single. You're too beautiful to be single. Who would hurt you? Who would do that to you? And you could be like, yeah, right. Why did they do that? I'm a good, like, I would never do that to you. So you have to understand the angle that these men are coming in. And then how you gain your intuition and how you gain your discernment is you start pouring into yourself. Because when a person or another counterpart comes to you, you have invested in you so much to the point of where they can't throw you off with, hey, beautiful, good morning, queen, and all of this other stuff, because you already say that to yourself. You already give yourself what it is that you need each and every day. Every day I get up and I go in my bathroom and I look in that mirror. I say, good morning, beautiful. I say, good morning, how you are so beautiful. And I say that from a standpoint to understand that I am a beautiful person, that I know the character that I possess. I know the integrity that I walk in, and I know who I am now. I'm not waiting for someone to validate me. I'm not waiting for someone to bring me flowers. I buy my own. I'm not waiting for someone to take me out to eat. I do it myself. So if you can do all those things that you want someone else to do for you, then you don't need them in your life. We have to get to the point where we don't need people in our lives. We may want them, but the whole gist of it is I don't need you here because I'm already doing fine without you here. If you come in, you will just add to it, but you're not, even if you leave, you're not, I'm not ever going to be at a deficit, because everything that I've accumulated it on my own. But if you come in, you need to bring value to my life, not take away from me just because you feel as though I'm this kind-hearted person. Yes, I'm a I'm a kind-hearted person. I'm a loving person, but I've learned through trial and error now how to discern between those who are coming in because they want to capitalize on either your success, your glow up, or whatever it is you're doing. They want your body. They want, to basically see what area of your life that you are deficit in, or that there is still questions that now I can come in and I can attack you from that angle. How can I attack you from that angle? And women, we need to understand that, because there's these men in these DMs and they'll come in, and nowadays I don't know, they not sticking to the script no more, because now they coming in straight away, you know, why are you single? How old are you? Or how many kids you got? Well, dad, you just came into, I don't know you. I'm not giving you out that information. And then now you're going to tell me, oh, I mean, off rip, like what done happened in your life? So you think just because you divulge a scenario of what happened to you and you were cheated on or mistreated, that I'm supposed to, oh, really? Oh, wow. That's so messed up. Why would somebody? No, I'm like, well, you know what? Hopefully you'll find a person that's for you. But anyway, have a nice life. Block, delete. Because you can't come to me anymore. I've gone through so much in my life that my sword is up. The sword of the spirit, that means the truth. I'm coming now and slicing everything that ain't standing in the presence up with the most high. That basically I have my discernment on. So you can't come in pulling the wool over my eyes anymore, because now I've understood that the most high is like, Michelle, we're not going backwards, we're going forward. So anyone that comes into your life, they have to live a standard, and they have to be in a place of where now they are moving in alignment with the purposes and plans that is in alignment with what I have for you. If not, then they're not the person for you. And I'm speaking that to you women out there. You have to understand what is your assignment in the earth. What are you called to do? And when you want to understand what your purpose is, it comes with, what are you passionate about? What is it that you're doing right now that you feel like it's effortless? It's something that you can get up and do and you don't even have to think about it. This is part of my purpose, because I've lived through it. I've gone through so much that what I'm even speaking to you now is not even, I have not even scratched the surface of the of things that I've gone through. But what the Most High had to do is he had to, what I would say, awaken me through trauma and things that I've gone through that allowed me to be open and susceptible to men that were predatory, that would come in and play on my good heart and my good nature, and let me understand that because you have a good heart and a good nature doesn't mean that everybody deserves access to you, and everybody's not coming in the energy to be there to love and support you. They're coming in because they see that light and they want to capitalize on it. So now you have to sharpen that sword and you have to stand in your power. And a lot of men don't like a woman who know who she is. They want you to not know who you are so they can come in and basically tell you what they want you to be. And we're not doing that in 2025 and into 2026 and beyond. And this is what I this is the reason why I'm coming over with this series. And the other part, and I want to see if I have enough time to kind of get into this part, but I want to really take my time with that part because I know the next part is going to be kind of a doozy, right? So let me go through the connection to predatory spiritually indebted men, right? So men who have partnered with dark forces. Now these men who don't have no type of connection to the Most High. They have signed up with lower vibrational energies because now they have to come in and they have to capitalize on women who are empathic, who have this good-hearted nature, so they can basically fulfill their contracts with these lower vibrational energies. And hopefully, I'm helping you not to be one of them, right? So it says that what they do, they offer connection, right? They offer connection fast. Oh, I never met anybody like you. They offer pleasure fast. Oh, I just want to, I just desire you. You're just so beautiful. I just want to just show my love to you by just making love to you, and this and that. And you'll be so flattered. Oh, really? And we, when we are centered, we know who we are. We don't take that as a flattery anymore because, like, no, brother, sister, it don't work like that, right? Then the next one is they offer fast. They offer attention fast. They intimacy fast, right? They make promises fast, right? But then after all of that, then once they hook you, and I said this in a previous video, once they bring that attachment to you, and I think in the next video, I think this is the third one, the fourth video, I'm going to talk about that sexual attachment. And this is really it's going to be a very detailed video. It's going to be something that you need to understand when you are in the act of that intimacy with that partner, and the contracts that are basically solidified if you are not aware, right? But once you lay down with this person, once you allow them to come in with the love bombing and the future faking and promising you all of this and all of that, and they are setting that groundwork for you to now be their next prey, right? But what really happens after they've hooked you is, what happens is emotional collapse. They start pulling back on the love bombing that they once gave you. Now they pull back on it. Now their words are far and few between, meaning maybe they don't call you as often, or if they do call you, the conversations maybe only last a couple of minutes. And because you just are so thankful for just that little bit of time with them, wherever it is that you take that as, okay, well, they're busy, and we make so many excuses for people who don't deserve not one. They make you have this instability, this shame around things that you may have, given yourself over maybe too quickly, or done things that you felt as though you shouldn't have done. I've done it. Let me tell you something. How you take the sting out of what the enemy would try to bring up in your face and say, yeah, I done it. I moved on from it. Now what? Point blank, period. Because I'm not gonna hold you. We're not gonna sit up here and be like, oh well, I just don't want them to no, expose yourself. I'm gonna say yeah, we made mistakes, but now we have learned our lesson, and this is why we can move on and we can let other people know how to not to make those same mistakes that we made in the past, right? So stay tuned for part 4.